longest relationship was about a year.
All right. Charlie, what about you?
Happily married.
Okay.
We've been together for 5 years, and we'll be celebrating our 3-year anniversary in May, and we have a beautiful daughter.
All right. Well, I think, you're being the only married person here. I think that's perhaps a good jumping off point. I think a lot of people, both men and women, they're kind of frustrated with the current dating landscape. Do you have any thoughts on this? What's your diagnosis and any solutions? And we'll open it up.
Sure, yeah. I think people need to date with the intent to marry. Yeah, I'm a big critic of hookup culture in its current form. I believe sex should be sacred and is sacred, and it's really thrown away way too generously in this society and culture. And I can tell you I'm super blessed. I have the best wife in the world. We have an amazing life. Building a family is the coolest thing ever, and my prayer for all of you is that you one day can do that.
That's so cute.
It's honestly the most joyful thing, and I've had some pretty amazing experiences. I've been very, very blessed, very lucky, you could say, but very blessed is the word I would use. And the greatest joy I've ever had is coming home to my little daughter running up to my leg. There's nothing that even comes close to it. Not flying on Air Force One, not meeting with presidents. That pales in comparison to your little girl coming up and squeezing your leg.
Okay, got it. Does anybody else have any thoughts on that with,
Yeah. So I just wanted to circle back because you said something that caught my attention, and I disagree with it. Because you said something like, I hope all of you can experience that, and you said something like, I hope all of you can experience that, and I don't disagree with that. I hope we can all experience joy in life like that. That's amazing, but I just feel like I don't know why you said it that way. Maybe we're not going to experience that because we don't have the same values as you.
Is that what he said?
From that,
I thought it was.
I don't think that's.
I don't know.
That's not the impression I got. But I'll if Charlie wants to answer.
Well, if I said it that way, I didn't mean it that way. But do you feel is that a goal that you have to be a mother?
there's a thing.
Okay. The P star is giving Charlie a covert. Whoa. Okay. All right. Okay. I know. Okay. All right. Moving on.
No, but Molly, do you think that
keep it?
Is that okay? No.
Oh no. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, is that a goal that you would want in your life to be a mother?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think that in your self-described current line of work that is more or less likely?
What do you mean by likely?
I mean, maybe you can tell me more about your line of work.
What would you like to know?
Do you think that it's going to create a good, happy family in the future?
Right now I'm working on it. Yeah, me
That's
and
good.
my boyfriend are doing really well in our relationship, and honestly, I think contrary to what most people would believe, I think being inborn has strengthened us.
Why is that? I've never heard that.
Yeah.
What can you tell me why?
So basically, being important and having sort of this open type of relationship where you can have sex with other people. Obviously, there are certain boundaries in the relationship, but it really makes you think about, what's important, why you love this person, and you start to really hold things true that are deeper than just sex. And I think that on top of that, you can share sex with other people together, and that's really bonding. That's really fun.
Are you ever worried that do you ever get jealous of him if he has sex with other people?
Yeah.
Oh, you do?
Yeah.
So how does that strengthen your relationship?
Because we're able to talk about it, and I think every time that I bring up a concern and he's able to soothe it and we're really able to work on that bond, it just makes it stronger.
Have you ever, when you were having sex, do you ever think it's more than physical? That maybe there's emotional and spiritual connections you might be introducing?
No.
So it's a purely physical experience.
Yeah.
See, for me, sex is more than physical. That's the least part of sex for me, because I get to share it with my soulmate. It's my best friend.
It's definitely a big energy exchange.
It's a big energy exchange. And so, Molly, I would ask respectfully, wouldn't you want to only share that energy exchange with the person that you love most and want to have children with?
I think sex can exchange different types of energies. So like you can exchange an intimate type of energy, or you can exchange a really passionate, like horny type of energy. You can exchange dull energy during sex. You can exchange manipulative energy during sex. Sex can be used for a wide variety of things, and I think the biggest one is like marital spiritual connection, but you can't deny that there's other benefits to it as well.
If you could be with your boyfriend currently, and I waved a magic wand and I said you can make $1 million a year and never do porn again, would you?
No.
Okay. Okay.
What?
Are you making more than that a year, Molly?
Not yet.
Oh, well
Yeah.
then, I mean, aren't you doing that? That's your profession, so I assume you're doing that to make money, correct?
Yeah, 100%. Well, also
But Charlie
I'm
just
doing
has a magical wand. He's got, that's not the wand.
For the sake of argument.
He's used the wand. You can make $1 million a year.
Yeah.
You don't have to do, the adult content.
Well, the thing is, I wouldn't have to do it. That would be great, but I would still want to do it. I mean, personally, like, I'm an exhibitionist. I love, like, putting my sexual self out there for other people to see, for other people to, like, touch themselves to, have fun with.
Can I ask you a question? Since you're about presenting yourself to the world, do you have a good relationship with your father?
Okay, here we go.
No, I don't talk to him.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah.
I actually think it's principled that you said you wouldn't give it up just for money, because that shows that you do it for reasons beyond just like financial ones. That shows you have like a genuine passion and interest in it.
Grid 1 Motorsports donated $200. In other words, sex is whatever she needs to make believe it is at the time she needs to rationalize it. It's called whole logic.
Oh.
I wouldn't use that language, but Molly, what I would say is you seem like a sweet person. Maybe something to think about as the years go on, that maybe sex should just be saved for the person you love most. I would ask you or the panel, what would your definition of love be?
Me and the whole panel?
Or just anyone. I mean, that's just a fundamental question with dating, right? Is that a tough question, guys? What is?
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, it's a
I feel
very
like love is
complex
complicated.
answer.
You know what? Let's go around the
Sorry, I
table.
don't mean to-
Oh, no, it's great. It's
No,
great.
I-
It's great. We'll go around the table. Do you want to answer? So your question is, what is love?
Yeah, that's a song too.
What is love?
It's a good song.
Yeah,
It's a good
or
song.
how would you define love? Because I think
How do you
that
define love?
Shouldn't that? Could we all agree that's probably a good goal of dating, to find love? Could we all
Yeah.
agree on that?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes. So we'll start with you. We'll go around the table if you guys want to give your answers for that. Go ahead.
I feel like love is an emotional connection between two people that value each other and accept each other for who they are. I feel like that's what love is. I feel like real love is when you find kind of, I guess, things you don't like about the person you're with and you still choose to be with them and grow with them either way. I feel like that's real love.
I feel like that's more of a romantic type of love. I feel like love is something that's going to transcend just romantic relationships. And I would say it's like an emotional bond that exists between human beings. And I say human beings just to specify that I don't think it exists between people and things, because I think that's kind of materialistic.
Flan Life, thank you for the gift at 50 memberships. Appreciate it. Sorry, go ahead, Aaron. Go ahead.
Just that I think love is a connection that exists between people, not things, to get away from more like a materialist understanding of like people saying like, I love my car, or I love this item or whatever. I don't really think that constitutes love. But other than that, I would not be able to really define it. It's a question that philosophers have been debating since the beginning of time. I don't know that it'll be answered on this podcast.
Hold on.
Donald Trump donated $200. I'm pleased to announce Charlie
Oh, that's
Kirk
a
as
big-
my
that's a
VP
big
pick.
announcement.
It'll be the best. Big. Trump Kirk 2024. Tremendous. We will make America great again.
For the record,
I'm
I'm not old enough. For the
Oh, you're not
record.
old enough to be the VP pick. Okay. I thought we had a whatever exclusive here. Charlie Kirk,
35.
the VP pick. Okay. Sorry, Aaron. Go ahead.
No, just that.
Oh, okay. What about you?
I agree with both of them, so I don't really have anything else to add.
Okay. All right.
There's different types of love. Obviously, we don't feel love for our parents the same way we do with a romantic
Sure.
partner, friend.
Or friends, yeah.
Yeah, but with that being said, I would classify love as a deep connection and emotion that you share with someone, and also kind of like really hoping for the best for that person, for who they are and their future, and just like what you hope you can do together as well.
Okay.
I agree with them as well. I think love is accepting someone for all of them, not just the good parts. And I think that it should be like unconditional. If you're going to love someone, that it should be, you know, the good and the bad.
That's a tricky one for me because I have a hard, I'm difficult to kind of deal with the term love and things around it. I'm kind of scared of it. But I feel like the main type of love that I like to focus on is just the self-love. Like as the rest of the girls are saying, there's so many different types of love you can find in a partner, but I feel like, I don't know, I couldn't imagine myself loving someone unconditionally, but myself, sure, I can find ways.
Can I ask a question?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Why do you think you're afraid of love?
I don't know what it is. I think maybe the commitment.
It's love
And it's
is
like,
scary.
yeah, it's scary, isn't it? I
Would
don't
you say
know.
other
Well,
people, are you afraid of love?
I
Do
feel
you
like
feel that way?
I feel like people are afraid of happiness because happiness isn't long term. You can't stay happy forever,
Yeah.
especially with the person. It's not always going to be perfect. So I feel like a lot of people are scared of love because I feel like, well, let's say you're in a relationship with somebody, right? And I guess the best thing you can hope for is to end up dying together. It's no matter what, it's never like forever lasting. So I don't know. I think that's how it is.
And it's also scary because, like, if you give more to someone and they, like, don't give it back, happens a like, lot. that hurts a lot.
I think honestly that's the most beautiful part about love, because true love doesn't really care whether you're loved back. It hurts
yeah.
if you're not loved back, but
That's
you're
what I
still
mean,
going
yeah.
to love that person or
Yeah.
yourself or whatever. But I think that love in general is just a deep understanding and acceptance of a human being.
Yeah, the Greeks had 4 words for love. English has screwed this up. So in Greek, the first word would be phileo, which is the brotherly love, the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, right? So we all know that what that's like to love a sibling, right? But that's a completely different type of love than storge in Greek, which is to love a child, which is my wish for all of you. It's a great thing, as I said. Also, there is eros, which some of you may have had before, which is erotic. We get the English word erotic from. But then there's this...
You looked at me.
Did you look at her?
I did
didn't.
kind of glance right in her direction right as you said that. So.
So, and then the last is agape, which I'm a Christian. We believe that's the highest form of love, which you guys mentioned sort of, which is you would give your life for that person. And that's a very hard thing, right? I would give my life for my wife in a second and for my child. And I guess my question is, and anyone can chime in, through the current hookup culture fans, is it more or less likely to get towards that ideal self-sacrificing type of love?
Yeah.
Personally, I was just gonna say, personally, I think that a lot of people today are so wrapped up and stuck because they don't know how to love themselves, and that causes, you know, a lot of stuff to happen, and it can cloud your mind from really being able to, what's the word I'm looking for? Pursue and look for a connection with another person.
And also with like social media and like dating apps and stuff now, like people are so used to like having options and just like literally just having like whoever they really want to. So it's like a lot harder for people to be like, I guess, more serious because once...
Go ahead, keep going.
Because like I don't know, like for a lot of people that are into like hookup culture and stuff, like I don't know, I just feel like there's a lot of options and people don't take it serious because there's so many people to choose from. And like if they don't like one thing about you, they're like, oh, okay, I'll just find someone else then. Like, I don't know, it's kind of...
Yeah, but I think that goes in terms of like anybody, not just OnlyFans people.
Yeah.
OnlyFans obviously does get in the way of someone wanting to take you serious. But I've actually noticed OnlyFans has got a lot more guys in my DMs. So when I post a booty pic, everyone is loving me.
Well, do they love you or do they lust you?
Well, it's probably more lust, but
yeah.
it's still something to
If-
feed my attention ego.
If you could find a stable soulmate, would you quit that line of work? If you were totally financially supported, similar to the question to Molly.
I mean, anything to make me stay in bed all day, I'll take it. So yeah, but in terms of a soulmate, I don't know. Like I'd rather myself be my own soulmate. Like I was raised by an independent mother. I haven't really seen
much of a like kind of I guess a relationship, but I also feel like you don't really need it. My mom has done everything for herself and for me, so I don't know, I feel like menopause as well, I'm gonna get sick of them and I'll be in a marriage that I will regret. So
Sick of who?
If I get married.
Oh,
So
sick of your
You guys have such a dark view of marriage. It's a beautiful thing, everybody. It's this exciting,
I've yet to experience
amazing. No,
something that makes me believe
trust me.
it.
Part of the problem is the culture is so dark and terrible.
It is.
I will be perfect. It's very hard. Marriage is very difficult. It's the hardest thing I've ever done, and raising kids is even harder than that. And I've done some difficult stuff, but it's by far the most fulfilling.
Charlie, do you think people should wait until marriage to have sex?
Ideally, of course, yes. But I'm not here to judge people I'm not here to say that you're a bad person or whatever. I have my...
Sorry, can I just ask?
Yes, sure.
Did you wait till marriage?
Yeah.
Oh, really?
It was the greatest decision of my life.
Wow,
yeah.
wow.
Yeah.
I would not be able. Imagine you waited till marriage and you find out they have a
I had
small-
other...
I would hate that. Like, I would be so
Well,
bad.
there's more important things.
I think
more important things.
Or that, yeah.
Well-
like, you can't leave it up to the marriage day, man. Sexual intercourse
But
is
let's
important.
play the other side of it. Imagine going into the bedroom on your marriage night and knowing that you both have each other for the first time. You never had to share that human being.
Yeah, true. But then again, I lost
That
my
would be
virginity
dope.
to a virgin as well.
Or
so
imagine
I
if they were
kinda
really
already
experienced and they were in awesome way and you guys also had a connection.
Or-
That would also be really fun.
Or if they're a man, they might be thinking about other women for the rest of your relationship.
I don't think men stop thinking about other women just because they get married. I really
think
doubt
men
that.
will do that no matter what.
No, men's minds are rather undisciplined. You are right. That is true. But they don't have other experiences or pair bonds, especially for young women, with pair bonds are a real thing, to compare that to. But look, I will go back to what I said. This is a very powerful thing. We all agreed with that, right? And I think you
A
have
tool, one might even say.
it can be used. It could be abused. It could be, but in its ideal, which I fully acknowledge, it's very, very hard to do. Very hard, very difficult. But should be a goal that I would like to see more people at least talk about in a non-judgmental way that is worth aspiring to. And it's not impossible. It's not impossible. It's not popular, but it's not impossible.
Okay. Did you have a response, Aaron, or I thought someone over here had a...
I don't think so.
I feel like I had something to say, but
Oh, did you have... Yeah, sorry,
forget
did you
what it
have more?
Did any, if you could wipe the slate, I know this is hypothetical, if that's okay?
Wait, I remember what
Yes,
I was
I'm
going to say
sorry,
now.
yeah.
You were saying that, like, oh, if you only have one partner, you're not going to think about other people. But I actually feel like that might make you wonder even more.
Yeah.
You'll be seeing all these girls online, you'll be watching and you'll be thinking about all these other things, and it's like all you have is one person. And, like, I don't know, I feel like that would kind of open up a lot of curiosity.
Yeah, that would drive me crazy. I would like always be wondering what I was missing and like did I miss out on something good because I was holding out for something that maybe turned out not to be what I thought it was.
Yeah, looking around, I can't say that I think I'm missing much, to be honest. Not around this table, I'm just
Shots
saying.
fired.
No, not around this table, I just say the country. No,
just
I
in general.
just in general, not around this table, I just, what am I missing? You know, I have and by the way,
Is he missing anything?
Yeah, what?
Aaron, is he missing?
I mean, if
Maybe
you're
you wanna
saying
weigh in?
that
Sophia,
she's like
you
the
wanna
best,
weigh in? What's
like,
he?
No,
why
I
did he miss
like
something?
person, then no.
Pixie,
Not every
is he
day
missing?
is amazing, but
Well, obviously,
I
no
think
one's
you're
perfect.
missing out on some good threesomes. That's all I'm going to say.
okay. If that is the compelling argument, then
I don't know why that's not working. Our audio's
look,
bad.
everything in life is a choice. I get to have a soulmate that I get to go on an adventure with and a beautiful daughter, and you get to have orgies.
You can still have a soulmate and a beautiful family and do porn.
So, Molly, I don't think you're right. And if it works for you, then you will definitely defy the odds.
No, I think it does work. I think it can be proven that you can
I know
still...
for a fact it works.
Yeah,
I have
for sure.
friends with kids and like friends who are in relationships getting married, and they're very prominent doing porn, fucking other people, having orgies,
Let me tell you.
all that jazz.
Yeah, let me tell you a true story about a young lady who went to high school near here. When she started to get 15, her mom was a porn actress, and all the other boys would constantly tease her and bully her because they would show pictures of her naked mother, and it really, really hurt her. Do you ever wonder that for your future kids, they might have to be confronted by that or teased or ridiculed by your line of work?
I know they will be confronted with it, but there's so many ways to answer this question. But honestly, for one, I don't really care, because to me, the way that I look at it and the way that I'm going to raise my kids, it says a hell of a lot more to me about the child who is instigating negative emotions in my child because of what I do for work, rather than my child minding their own business.
Do you ever worry that you might be producing content that could be seriously damaging other people?
No.
Okay.
Charlie, you were about to say a little earlier, if you could wipe the slate clean,
Sure.
what was the question that you had there?
If you could wipe the slate, theoretically, and re-virginize yourself, and would you? Could you go back to the person you were as a virgin?
No.
No.
I love who I am now. I feel like everything happened for a reason, and I don't know. I love who I am now.
Would I take back the people that I did? Probably, but
fair.
Yeah, like you said, it made like who I am. So no.
I think I would definitely do some things different. It's kind of ironic because this probably isn't the answer you're looking for, but if I was to start again, I'd probably lose my virginity for and do more things earlier on. But yeah, that's just me. But there's definitely some body counts that I do regret, just one night stands and all them lame things. But
What about they did you regret? Just the
one night stands.
they weren't worthy, or?
Yeah, just like bad time, or like weird people, or like, you know, you get too drunk and you get in a situation you can't really get out of and stuff like that. But in terms of then all the stuff I do for work, I love that because that's like an art form for me. So yeah.
I want to circle back to something you said earlier, where you said that Molly's children, hypothetical future children, could be confronted with like her work, right? Yes. And I think that is not, I don't think there's any career path that precludes your child from potentially being confronted with what their parents say. Like, I know that you're involved in like political work and stuff like that. Do you ever worry that things that you've said online or done, or political actions that you've taken, might be like your daughter might be confronted by them by somebody who has like somebody's kid who has an opposing point of view? I feel like that would like, do you ever worry about something like that?
Oh, she'll definitely be confronted. It's not videos of me having sex online.
No, but you said like
difference.
Tons of controversial things, right? So do you expect that any of that could like have negative effects on her well-being, or like how she's raised, or anything like that? Or do you think, and I say controversial like neutrally and descriptively, like objectively, if your views are polarizing, that's going to incite conversation, debate, discussion. Do you ever worry about like kids confronting her with these things and her not being prepared to know how to answer them, or maybe feeling like bullied or embarrassed?
Yeah, I mean, that's a factor of being in public life, for sure. Yeah, and hopefully I build her strong up enough to be able to endure that, right?
Then I bet Molly thinks probably the same thing, right? Like, just that sort of resiliency.
Do you think public political commentary is morally on the same plane as filming yourself having sex?
Yes.
Yeah. I think people, if anything, it could sometimes be worse depending on what the person is talking about.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree.
Oh, worse, okay.
I think politics is definitely heavier than.
You think politics does more damage than...
For the actual life,
100%.
like the world, yes.
Yeah.
Her having with other men is not disrupting the world.
Well, no, not just sex, but filming it and disseminating
I think
it.
it
but that's
actually
not
helps
putting
the
the world
world
into
because
shambles.
it gives
For
the men a release of their semen that they keep the girls to them, so they go off to me.
Lonely boys, you know, we're helping them. So
Also, I feel like it's their choice to watch, so it's, you know, it's not.
Well,
like
I was
it's
also going
shoved
to ask how
forced
kids would
people.
know that someone's mom is a star. How would they know that?
Internet's forever.
The
Can you
internet.
scoot your mic
Yeah,
that way?
But why are,
internet is
I mean,
forever.
obviously kids what?
It would be a parental failure, basically. Like the parents are not monitoring their child's consumption of media good enough, and therefore they find porn.
Donated $200.
This is
Charlie
stupid. You
was
could ignore
right.
that.
I was a DEI high.
Oh, God.
My sprinkler goes like this.
Oh my god.
They give $200 for this?
I got some interesting. I got some. Okay, all right. Thank you for that. Okay, where were we?
I finished my thought.
Okay.
Do,
All right.
do any of you think that a generation of young men, and having struggled with myself, totally acknowledge it, so no one...
Have you off to me?
Oh my God, Molly.
he's thinking.
I've never heard of you before, so yeah,
That's the answer, because your wife is watching.
that's true. I've never heard of you before. Yeah.
That was kind of out of pocket, Molly. Okay, so Charlie Kirk, you're a political commentator.
Can I say one thing?
Absolutely. Go ahead.
Molly, I have sympathy for you. I do. You're trying to cope with the suppression of your soul. And filming yourself having sex with other men and filming it is not the highest and best use of the talents that God gave you. It's not.
I think
And
that is a talent God gave me.
well, it's not the highest and best use, and it's not a talent because, as I said, in my belief, that should be saved in a sacred domain. We're not going to agree on that, but I hope you change course. I think you'll be happier and more joyful, and I pray you don't have to suffer too much to realize that.
Well, in my belief, this is my most happy and joyful.
So if Molly made like a huge pivot and started doing politics, would you support her political like runs and bids?
It's not a matter of politics. I mean, I want what's best for all of you here, and I don't think filming yourself having sex with men is the highest and best use of your talents. In fact, I think it personally has done a lot of damage to a lot of young men. And don't take my word for it. Look, you can read the book by Gary Wilson, Your Brain on Porn. It is the #1 drug in America right now, and it impacts
Well, it
men.
definitely isn't healthy.
Okay, so it's not healthy, so
No.
we agree. So let me ask a moral question. What do you guys think of drug dealers that push fentanyl? Good people or not good people?
Probably not.
Not
Yeah.
good people.
So
I mean, that's
if we
killing
agree
people.
that
Porn
porn is a
isn't
drug,
killing people.
but hold on a second. If porn is a drug, how is Molly not either drug dealer or a drug manufacturer?
How is
It's different
comparing
levels
porn
of
to fentanyl?
addiction.
There's so many other drugs.
Well,
Like
hold on,
weed is
but-
not fentanyl.
But
Weed's fine.
we agree.
Porn's
Well,
fine.
I wouldn't say weed is fine, but
doesn't
it is
kill
not as bad as fentanyl. But
I mean,
do we?
there's different levels.
Do you believe
to,
porn is a drug?
I think it's an addiction. A drug
Okay.
is a no.
So what does porn do to the male mind?
I don't know. I'm not a male.
Okay, yeah, it is the same biochemical release as cocaine. It's almost identical. In fact, it's even more powerful at times. Not to mention the damage it does to their relationships and
Well, yeah.
how it has to rewire their brain. That goes without saying. But
I
does
don't really see the comparison with like fentanyl and porn though, because fentanyl actually kills people and
And it's highly addictive.
So
I know right now, currently, like addiction is not recognized in the DSM-5 as a legitimate addiction. The only behavioral-based addiction would be drug addiction, something like fentanyl or whatever. Every other type of addiction is something that's like so that you can't, or sorry, not drug-based, gambling. That's what it is. Gambling addiction is very real, but I don't believe addiction is. I think you can have impulse control issues with, but that would be like any other thing that you could have difficulty controlling, like your consumption of.
Mhm.
So,
Go ahead,
I
Molly,
finished.
please.
So my question is like, I kind of have a comparison of my own, and I'll try and sum this up as fast as I can. But basically, when Prohibition happened, people said that alcohol, it was not good for you. It led to deaths, it led to arguments, negative things, whatever. Prohibition happened. People still found ways to have parties with alcohol, drink alcohol, speakeasies existed. The only thing that happened was people didn't stop drinking alcohol, people started getting arrested and punished for it. And it started ruining people's livelihoods in that way instead of in a way that they have control over, meaning that they can stop the addiction by getting help at any time.
Mhm.
So my question is, if you think is so bad, like an addiction like that, what's your solution? Because if you're going to get rid of it, it's still going to exist.
Well, the
Yeah.
first solution, I mean, can you at least agree, Molly, that minors shouldn't be viewing?
100%.
Okay, good.
18
So
plus for a reason.
Yeah.
well, the age verification's a little
well,
bit.
yeah.
Yeah.
So let's talk about that. Utah and Texas passed laws that Hub sued that made it more robust. You had to actually provide an ID, and Hub didn't like that because they said it would limit their traffic. So would you all agree that if there was robust ID checking, that would, like 18, we can at least agree we could draw the line
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, I feel like that's the normal age. For
Okay,
like,
I'm glad to hear that. So on the other side, though, I mean, I think we have to acknowledge that the average American male spending anywhere between 45 minutes to 90 minutes on websites, it varies. I mean, this is a new phenomenon, and I just want to reiterate it, that highly interactive, three-dimensional video that triggers dopaminergic responses in the brain is unlike anything we've encountered. The science is still being studied, and Gary Wilson's book is phenomenal on this, Your Brain on Porn. In fact, it is the most used, let's just say product, we don't have to say drug, product for young men in this country. And I guess you would all say that, let me just ask you, how many of you are thrilled with the status of American men? You think that they're strong and confident and they tell the truth?
I love an American man as an Irish girl, definitely.
Okay, well then, you're the exception.
They're all
The Americans
horrible.
are silent.
Okay, you see, yeah, but hold on, and I'm not going to say it's only because of, because that would not be fair, consumption does not make better men.
No,
You agree?
I agree 100%.
So that's where I'm just trying to introduce into the conversation. You said, what is the solution? So I would just say, Molly, my advice, well, my ask for you is, for people to stop participating in it. That's not going to happen because the money is so good. But we should draw the line at 18. It should be very, very hard to access. But to your point, Molly, you're not wrong. People would always find it. But we should draw a line in the sand somewhere, especially with minors, or have some sort of, we should have some sort of acknowledgement that this is destroying parts of society. And I won't say it's worse than fentanyl, but in some ways it's very, very sneaky. A lot of married men watch pornography. As I said, I've had my own personal struggles with it. It's incredibly addictive. It's incredibly powerful. It also creates depressive effects in about half of the men that consume pornography. And I would just say that, young ladies, it affects women differently than men. Men are 50 times more visual oriented than women. And that's not to say that women don't consume pornography. They do, in increasingly higher rates. But I think it's a social toxin right now.
I don't think that's anything.
Hold on, just a second.
Charlie Cook Enjoyer donated $200. Hey Charlie, just want to say, thank you for everything you do. You are a force for good in America. Great to see you on the Whatever podcast. Question, would you ever consider running for office?
It's so scripted. No, not anytime soon. But thank you for the $200 to.
Wait, I have a question for you,
Yeah,
actually,
please,
just
sure.
because I don't
Yeah.
really know who you are, but there's a lot of
You're very
politics.
lucky. You're very,
okay.
very lucky.
I was just what do you do? Because I've seen you've mentioned politics, and now that
Yeah,
what do you?
I run an organization called Turning Point USA. I am a conservative, if you haven't figured that out, and a Christian, and I host a 3-hour show every day in my name. So
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Let's switch.
I envy you that you don't know, but yes, I'm sorry.
Totally fine. Let's switch gears a little bit here. So, going around the table asking all the girls here, would you date someone who does not align with your politics? So if you're a liberal, would you date a conservative? If you're conservative, would you date a liberal? If you're a communist, would you date an anarcho-capitalist, I guess? I don't know. So tell us what your political orientation is going around the table, and if you would date somebody who differed from you politically, and if so, why not? Starting with you, go ahead.
Honestly, I feel like it wouldn't be that big of a decision for me. I wouldn't mind. I feel like I'm not that strict about certain things, and I feel like if I want to be with him, I'll be with him and accept him for whatever it is, and maybe even try to, I guess. Well, no, we can't agree to disagree. I feel like on certain things I might actually. I'm too indecisive. Never mind.
Where do you fall politically?
Undefined.
Okay. Undefined?
I'm not going to say it.
Okay. Anarchist, maybe? I don't know.
Not even a hint.
Maybe you guys can pick up randomly.
Okay.
That'd be fun.
I don't know. Okay, Aaron, what about you? What about you?
Yeah, I'm fine dating somebody who disagrees with me politically. I already do. My boyfriend's like a liberal, which is filthy liberal, even though I'm, further left than him. But I love him in spite of that. So.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So what if you were to put a word to how you would describe yourself politically? Are you a leftist?
Yeah, I'd say I'm on the left,
and your
anti-capitalist.
boyfriend's liberal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What about you?
It kind of depends how. Honestly, on both sides, it depends how hardcore they are, because a lot of hardcore stuff like that I don't even agree with on both sides. So it would kind of depend on what they believe in, or how hardcore they are with it. But I think I could. I don't really. I mean, I'm always down to have discussions and conversations. So I think I could. As for my political, I don't really care.
You don't care?
I would say I'm in the middle, honestly.
Who did you vote for in the last election?
Or did you vote? Most people don't vote.
I regret my vote now, but we could Biden, unfortunately.
Kanye? You voted for Kanye?
That would have been a better choice, honestly. No, I voted for Biden, unfortunately.
And you regret that?
I do.
Why do you regret that?
Do you see the state of the world? I mean,
You're smart.
That's why I'm just in the middle.
Do you want to share?
I agree with stuff on both sides.
Good for you.
Pixie, what about you?
I'm a progressive. My last date actually lasted 20 minutes because of this.
Oh wait, we have the tweets. Nick, pull up her tweets really quick. I saw your tweets.
Shit, the receipts.
About that. We have the receipts. Nick, go ahead.
How much money is in your guys' bank account?
What was that?
We had like a YouTube video randomly start playing. Nick, you got it. Make it scroll bigger, Nick. Make it bigger. Okay, I'm convinced I have to move from Miami just so I can actually find someone to date next.
From Miami, yeah.
Today, my date lasted a total of 20 minutes because he found I was progressive and that he was conservative next. At least it was a mutual decision on both parties to rather figure out long-term incompatibility quickly than waste each other's time. So, on that date of yours where you were out on a date with a conservative man, who, like, was it kind of, you said it was a mutual thing, but was it more so you who had an issue with it? Was it him? Or it was mutual?
It was pretty darn mutual. Like,
Okay.
what happened was we were in the car, we were going to go to a bar, and he asked me what I did for work. So then I started talking about it, and he was like, would it bother you if I'm a hardcore conservative? And then I was like, well, what do you mean by that? Because some people are like, I'm a hardcore conservative, and what they mean is like smaller government and less taxes, which is, you know, something I can like deal with. And then some people are like, oh, you know, like Nick Fuentes style, like like. So I asked him, and he actually said he was a huge fan of yours, which is like fine.
Oh, that's a deal killer.
Of Charlie or whatever?
Of Charlie.
Oh, okay.
But no.
If it was you, to be fair.
No. But and he was saying like, oh, you know, I just like, I'm really.
Did he actually say that?
Yeah.
I like this.
Huge fan. Okay.
But he was like, I'm just like really hardcore conservative, and I was like, well, honestly, at this point, I feel like I would make you more upset than you make me upset. And
You
then
think so?
Yeah.
It seems to me it seems to me that typically it's liberals who are not prepared to be friends with conservatives versus the reverse. I actually think they've done studies on this. It's conservatives typically, from what I've seen, tend to, while they disagree ideologically, liberals just will outright hate somebody who's conservative and think they're like evil.
I think
No, I don't like that. I want to get to be friends with them so I can convert them into my leftist ideology. So, how else am I supposed to convert them?
Yeah, I come from a conservative family. I have a lot of close friends that are conservative. So to me, that's like, I'm not new to disagreeing with people. Like,
Okay.
that's just part of life for me. But yeah, it just like, I'm okay dating somebody who believes in like some different things than me. It just depends on what extent. Like, for example, if I want to have children in the future, and if my child, let's say, comes out as gay, and my partner's like, we have to send them to conversion therapy. To me, that's like a hard line. To me, that's like, no, like I couldn't put my child through that.
We can maybe come back to that specific thing. But just curious, how did you meet him?
Oh, Hinge.
You met him on Hinge? Doesn't it allow you to disclose your political leanings on?
Yeah, I disclosed mine. He didn't disclose his.
Okay.
So why did he go on the date?
Yeah, if he had such a big issue with it. Well, okay. We'll continue going around. And then, did you have anything in response to her, Charlie? Or
No, I actually think you guys made the right choice, believe it or not. I think you have to have value alignment. I think you have to have worldview harmony. That you shouldn't date or marry people. I mean, you have kids, or are you going to have kids, or are you going to raise them religious or not? I mean, just the amount of daily questions that come up in a marriage is, I mean, it's 500 a day. And if you see the world differently, then that's a recipe for disaster. So I actually think you guys made the right. I think you should end up, if you end up marrying somebody who sees the world the way you do.
Yeah.
It would make you a happier marriage and
What if it was
children.
just one issue? Like, if I'm assuming that you're anti-choice, right? Or pro-life?
Oh, yeah, pro-life. Yeah.
Okay,
Thank
so
you.
if your wife is not pro-life, but everything else you guys agree, would that be a deal breaker for you?
That one would be a deal breaker, yeah, because that's not like taxes, right? That's
Yeah.
that's not like, hey, you know, I believe in a 35% tax rate and I believe in a 20% tax rate.
It's like philosophical variance.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay.
That's correct.
Ryan, I actually have a tweet up that might relate to this conversation.
What do you mean?
Do you want to see the tweet?
Is it?
End wokeness. It's about how women are becoming dramatically more left wing.
Sure, we can take a quick look at it.
Oh, this one.
I think I saw this. Young women are becoming dramatically left-wing. Young men are becoming more right-wing. This is happening on every continent. So there's South Korea, U.S., Germany, U.K. Scroll down just a tad so we can see the UK here. Okay. Yeah.
So I'm curious why, and I'd love to, I mean this like non-sarcastically, I'd love to learn why do you think that trend is?
I think it's because one side. Wait, okay, so left is. I'm not like a huge politics.
That's all right.
person.
So young women are getting more in like the Joe Biden direction of the Democrat Party,
Okay, that's
or
what I
progressive.
figured. Okay.
And young men are coming more, you could say, in
Like
the Trump,
Okay.
conservative direction.
I think it's more of that reason because obviously the Biden side or whatever you want to say, that side has more of like women's like rights and stuff. So obviously like, well, not right now, but like just in general, like that, the ideas of like that side have more like pro women things and the other side really doesn't. So I think that's why.
I'm going to ask my young progressive organizer. Why do you think? Because it's something that
I personally don't think it's very valuable to ask people to label themselves politically, mostly because if somebody does that, what I want them to do is like write it down on a piece of paper and then crumple it up and throw it away. And usually just go issue by issue, because I found that when you ask people what they mean by conservative or whatever, like Pixie was saying earlier, sometimes they'll say, oh, like low taxes, small government or whatever. But these are very nebulous terms. But when you actually get into it, maybe they describe themselves as conservative, but more the libertarian type. So they might be pro-choice still. They might actually be interested in like a less interventionist, like foreign policy. And then at that point, those are some like liberal tenets to me. So I don't think it's very useful to even try to like have people do that. Or you might even find some liberals that are like anti-union, for example. Yeah.
Nick, what?
We had like an audio issue for a moment, but it seems okay for now.
Oh, okay.
Audio issue?
Yeah, there was some echo.
AB Check, thank you for the gifted 50 memberships. Hold that thought, everybody. Chat, one in the chat if the audio is okay. One in the chat if the audio is okay. We had an echo?
Yep, it's cleared up. Right
It's okay now?
Are we able to keep talking or?
Yeah, no, they can hear us, but apparently there's some reports that we're reverb issue. It's happened once at the beginning of the show and once just now. No complaints. Is the chat? Is it fine?
Yep, we're good now.
Okay, we're good. Sorry, go ahead.
So I was gonna say, personally, I think there has been like a big push to like radicalize young men online. You see this with the Tates. You see this in some other forms of media. So I think young men in particular have been very, what is it called? Specialized. You got like these giant propaganda centers and networks focusing on trying to radicalize them in a way that they haven't necessarily put the equal focus on women. So I do think that there's been a lot of like online radicalization going on. I also think, like personally, I'm a feminist, but I think there has, like feminism has kind of left men behind and kind of has not given them the answers that a lot of them are necessarily seeking. So then they turn into like these like more what I would call toxic figures instead for guidance. So that's my answer when it comes to like this increased like radicalization.
What could conservatives do better to reach young women?
What could
I mean,
conservatives?
it's not a trap question. I'm honestly curious. Yeah.
I kind of don't want to give you that. Well, I'll give you the answer.
Oh, it's a secret recipe.
No,
It's
I'll
okay.
give it. I'm gonna.
You're
going to
give it in front of 5 million people. Too, so.
No, but I think a lot of conservatives really villainize young women and like the choices that they take. You see this not in this particular podcast necessarily, but there's some that are more extreme than this that really focus on like shaming women or putting some like basically cultural hypocrisy, like saying it's okay for men to be promiscuous but women aren't.
Grid One Motorsports donated $200.
Hey, thank you, Grid
I would
One.
not say young men have been radicalized. I would say that young men are being reminded they are men and not women, and that real men value women because we are not equal.
Yo, thank you, Grid One. Appreciate it. Go ahead, Pixie. And I if you can, make your point quickly, because I do want to bring in everybody else so they can answer the original question. Go ahead.
Yeah, but long story short, I think trying to not be hypocritical about how we treat men and women and not necessarily like shaming women for their past or how they currently are is probably a better way to reach to them, in my humble opinion.
Okay.
Okay, so honestly, I'm not too educated on politics that I can say I'm one thing.
Sure.
But I do think that my views do lean more progressive. But again, I'm not too educated on the topic. But I think I could date someone. I have dated someone who was conservative. But for me, it's more there's make or breaks, like you were saying about, if your wife was, pro-choice and you are not, that would be something that I could be like, oh, that's where I draw the line. Just certain things that, morally, I could not be with someone who had those views.
What about you?
I'm not really big into politics either. I don't really understand it. All I know is that I'm pro-choice. I like equality. But yeah, I don't know. I do agree though that your partner, you need to have the similar mindset. So it might be a bit difficult if I was to be with somebody that had a very strong political opinion. Usually I just go for people that are quite open-minded and chill. But I think I could be open still because I like to learn new things when I'm with partners. So it could open my mind even a bit more, and I could probably learn about politics then.
Molly, what about you?
Well, I agree with what you said. My ex-boyfriend was very prominent in politics, and he's very conservative, and I'm not at all. So that was definitely an interesting dynamic, but I think overall we really respected each other's perspective. And I don't think that conservatives are evil or they have a bad agenda. I just personally I don't agree with what they would decide for me, if and so I think that in a relationship when you're with someone that shares different values, it would be extremely hard to be married to someone for the rest of your life. It's doable, especially if you have that type of curiosity with the other person, but I for sure would want to be with someone who shares my kind of openness as well.
Okay. And then Charlie, I think you kind of maybe already went over it, but do you have any thoughts on, do you think it's a better idea for people when it comes to relationships or marriage to, I think I have a sense of what your answer would be, but to marry someone who shares their same political beliefs and values?
Don't try to change your partner. That's a bad idea.
Agree.
Yeah, don't try to change your partner. Don't. Yeah.